I'd like to welcome all to this evening's regular meeting of the Lakeview Public Schools Board of Education today, Tuesday, January 9th, 7:30 p.m. at the Wheat Educational Campuses Boardroom. As we have some business to take care of ahead of time before the regular agenda, the appointment of the temporary chairman and secretary.
Board of Education should appoint a temporary chairperson and a temporary secretary in order to conduct the election of officer for Lakeview Board for the reign of the 23-24 school year through January of 2025.
Mr. Paulson, I move that the superintendent of schools, yourself, be appointed as the temporary chairperson and Alyssa Cauldron as temporary secretary.
Support.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Baer, support by Mr. Dombrowski, on a motion for appointing myself and Ms. Calderon to handle the election of at least one officer. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Carries. As temporary chairperson, I'll conduct the election of president. If there should be two or more candidates for the position, then we will do an election by voice vote. Upon completion of the election of the president, the newly elected president can take over the rest of the officers. Are there any nominations for president? Mr. Baer?
I nominate Daniel Dombrowski as president.
Mr. Baer nominates Mr. Dombrowski. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, by acclamation, Mr. Dombrowski. Congratulations, Mr. President.
Thank you. Thank you. Never is. Never is, never will be. Okay, I'll move on here with the agenda. Moving on with the position of Vice President of Lakeview Public Schools Board of Education. Nominations, please.
I would like to nominate Ben as the vice president. And Miners.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, by acclamation, Mr. Miners, you are appointed as Vice President of the 2024 calendar year Lakeview Public Schools. Moving on to the position of Secretary. Any nominations for Secretary?
Mr. President, I nominate Robin as secretary.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, by acclamation, Ms. Martin, you are hereby the Secretary of Lakeview Public Schools Board of Education for 2024.
Again.
Thank you. How about you?
And for the position of Treasurer.
Mr. Dombrowski, I would like to nominate Mr. Baer as treasurer.
Any other nominations? Hearing none, by acclamation, we have one vote. Mr. Baer will be the treasurer for the Lakeview Public Schools Board of Education for 2024. To Mr. Baer, to Ms. Martin, and to Mr. Miners, congratulations. Now, moving on with the agenda. Item D, the minutes of the meeting, regular meeting of the workshop training meeting, December 5, 2023. We're still there.
Move their approval.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Mr. Miners. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I abstain since I was not at that last meeting.
Fair enough. Okay, moving on to item E, the minutes of the regular meeting of December 5, 2023.
Move their approval.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Mr. Miners. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
I abstain.
Motion carries. Okay, moving on to item F, public communication. Madam Secretary, have we any public communication this evening?
I do not.
Okay, item G, Board of Education and Administration comments. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody a very happy New Year. Here's hoping that everybody had a restful and joyous holiday break. Now we're back in the full swing of things in 2024. This is the first meeting of the 2024 calendar year for the Board of Education, hence the election of officers, et cetera. So again, it sounds like that everything has gotten off to a good start in 2024 in the district. And again, Happy New Year to all here. Any other comments from the board?
I'd just like to say, I want to thank everyone from the board, the community for all the kind words and prayers for my dad who passed last month. He's a great guy, he wanted me to get into this with the politics stuff, so that's one little thing he wanted me to get into, so glad I did, but thank you for everybody for everything.
You're welcome. Sorry about your loss.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Administration.
Absolutely. Each January, the Michigan Association of School Boards dedicates the month as Board Appreciation. And in light of the only meeting in January, the board has several things in front of them. A couple are from our district, a couple are one is from one of our architect. There was a poster outside, if you noticed in the lobby, from Greenwood's Student Council with a bunch of thank you cards posted to it. I noticed a few of you were already holding up the kind gesture and it took several modifications and design efforts for the kids in the computer-aided drafting class to design and then ultimately 3D print these phone holders. And you have a little message on the phone holder to give you a clear understanding of what it was in case you didn't know. It's a little fake phone for you. And then, of course, you have a certificate from the School Boards Association and some candy and a pen and, whatnot. So, on behalf of all the student staff and our families and our leaders in the district, I'd give you a heartfelt thanks and appreciation. The task of being a board member, most people don't realize how much time there is behind the scenes with reading, following, changes in state law, changes in what's going on in rules and regulations, being able to, take all that information in, not necessarily at the meetings, but be able to collect that all information through the documents you're provided and sometimes links with video clips or whatnot to better understand what's happening in the world around schools, and then to be able to, speak intelligently when you come to the table, be able to, answer questions, pose questions because you're knowledgeable enough. And, not all boards are as dedicated, I will give you that, but this board has been dedicated from the time I arrived in various different faces, one not a different face, but the rest different faces from 21 years ago. So on behalf of all of us that are involved in the district, thank you for what you're doing and why you keep doing it. You can only understand, but we appreciate it.
Well, thank you very much. It's an honor and a privilege to be here with this team of board members to be the rudder as far as policies, et cetera, and given the administration direction moving forward and, making it a successful venture for our kids and our families and our community. It's quite an honor for me, speaking for myself. I'll let others speak if they so wish, but, it has its challenges, but it has its rewards, and those rewards come in the fashion of, every June we have few hundred students across the stage earning their diplomas and handing their diplomas off, getting them to their next stage of their lives and careers and whatever so they choose. And at least we've done the best we can to help them along the way. It's a joint effort. It's between our staff and it's with the parents and the community's engagement. And, we just here hope that the parents are engaged and families are engaged, ensure that their kids are safe as well as we can do, and get them the education they need to get started. So, thank you very much. And thank you for your support for the board, over the years in helping us be successful as well. You know, together we are a team. Without all us working together, it's doomed for failure. So great stuff. Thank you.
And Happy New Year to everybody, certainly. We're at the end of the first semester around the corner, so kids that are out there listening, all three of you maybe, finish strong. Anybody else?
Any other comments from the board?
I'd just like to kind of piggyback what you said. We're a team over here, and I will tell you that as a team, we don't always necessarily come to the same ideas, but we all talk about it for the betterment of the school. This is not a group here that just sits and goes along with things. We're a little quiet tonight, but I can tell you that everybody here speaks very highly of what is going on in our educational system, what is going on in between the school execs and in between ourselves, because we want Lakeview and our school district and all the schools that are under the Lakeview High School to be the best, not only in the city of St. Clair Shores, which, we already are, but in Macomb, in the state of Michigan, and, we have high expectations. And I think that the best part of being on this board is the different ideas that everyone has, and that they're not all, like I said, we don't all just come in and say, yeah, I agree with that. No, there's talking points and there's disagreements, but that's what makes us better than the rest. So I want to thank everybody out there for having your own opinion.
And we all agree that it's okay to disagree. Perfect. Thank you. Any other comments? No? Okay, we'll move on. Student representative report. Ms. Pinter, good evening. Happy New Year to you.
Starting off with Princeton, they were able to help many families over the holiday season. Thank you to the people who adopted families, the annual PTO craft show, and the staff. And they hope that everyone had a great holiday. They were happy to see their new sign go up, and it was very nice. Looking ahead, they're focused on their next round of benchmark assessments, interventions, and continuing the work of their school improvement goals. They hope that everyone has a great January. All in all, prior to the holiday break, our community was very generous and helped support multiple families with gifts selected off of their giving tree. The St. Clair Shores Waterfront Environmental Committee has invited the Ardmore Green Team to attend and participate in their annual meeting. This meeting is open to the public and will be taking place next Tuesday. Harmon. Teachers at Harmon were excited to return from break and get back to work with their students. Their new Harmon electric sign is in place and fully functional, and the Harmon team has managed to figure out how to create and add messages to the sign. Winter and WBA testing at Harmon will start on Wednesday of this week and run for the next 3 weeks. And the Harmon PBIS team and staff have been looking at SWIS graphs and charts so they can dig deeper into student behavior issues and help students get positive choices. And Lakeview, the end of the second semester is near. Exams are January 18th and 19th, and both days are 11 o'clock dismissal for students, with the 19th being the end of the first semester. Second semester classes start on January 22nd, and the staff and students want to wish everyone a happy New Year.
Awesome. Another great report. Thank you. Mr. Cabe, I'm sure you're glad today wasn't your day on the roof, huh? 100%. And to a point you brought up, which reminded me about something, driving down Greater Mac just before Christmas, it was nice to see that bright red Happy Holidays logo shining up on that new sign out in front of the building. So then I drove by Princeton, and that was a little different, but, it's all good, and everybody's, taking advantage of it. So that was very good to see just before Christmas. Now we can get messages out on the street for people. To that end, that brought up a question regarding, we have the one at Jefferson, which is working. The one in front of the high school, is there any discussion on upgrading or replacing that one since there's such high traffic going on 11?
All 6 campuses will have new signs. The same exact look. The high school sign will go where the old one is that doesn't work, and it will be significantly larger than the elementary signs, just because of the nature of the size of the road. And Jefferson's sign will be on the Little Mac side. Is the bus loop.
Okay, cool. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Anybody have any comments for our student rep this evening?
He's doing a great job.
Still. Thank you. All right, moving on to, with the agenda, the appointment of board subcommittees.
At this time, Board of Education traditionally appoints board members to subcommittees that are listed below. We had the 2023 group, and now we suggest the board select positions for 2024.
Okay, going through the roster here real quick. Under personnel, we had Ms. Martin, Mr. Miners, and Mr. Miskelly. Under curriculum, we had Ms. Martin, Ms. Taylor, and Mr. Miners. Building and site, we had Mr. Asia, Mr. Bear, and Ms. Martin. Finance, it was Mr. Asia, Mr. Bear, and Ms. Taylor. And ad hoc, Mr. Asia, Mr. Miners, and Mr. Miskelly. Are there any desires to move things around? Or is everybody good staying pat? Good, good, good. Ben?
I was just going to motion that we keep it the same.
Fair enough.
I guess I'll formally, I'll say.
There's no motion on this. This is just appointments.
Oh,
We're good.
okay.
Yeah, sounds cool. Thank you. All right, item J, setting 2024 Board of Education meeting dates.
The attached 2024 calendar, tentative calendar, has been prepared for board consideration. This calendar is very similar to the calendar for 2023, which you also have behind that. Administration expects to provide the board a similar training topics in 2023 and in 2024, and we're requesting the board consider the dates for 2024 through January 2025.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the tentative 2024 board meeting calendar of meeting dates from February 2024 through January 2025.
Support?
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion. Any known conflicts out there for discussion that people see?
It's not during the years.
There you go.
November 1 is out, I love it.
Well, you could stretch it if you wanted to, but
Well, if you had no luck, you may need more
Got like
time.
an extra day, so. Perfect.
Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries. Item K, school board recognition.
I took the liberty earlier, so we can move past that.
Oh, you already took your,
Yes.
fair enough, thank
I'm
you.
going to talk for comments, I'll throw it in there.
All right, moving on to item L, ESSER 3 grant, section 11T, equalization grant, 23G, grant meaningful consultation, discussion, January 2024.
Tonight, to comply with ESSER 3 grant, Section 11T equalization grant, and 23G grant requirements, administration brings to the board's attention the ongoing conversations centered around these grant funds. ESSER 3 and Section 11T equalization grant. As a reminder, surveys were sent to staff and parents soliciting feedback back in fall of 2021. During the 21-22 school year, district leadership also facilitated discussions at staff meetings and PTO meetings to seek specific stakeholder input about how the funds might be used. Board discussions occurred at the February 15th, 2022 board meeting and the June 21st, 2022 board meeting as well. Based on the past input received from stakeholders, the majority of ESSER 3 and Section 11T grant funds have been spent as follows. ELA Math, Science, and Social Studies after-school tutoring and summer programs for K-12 students who are at risk for failure. Salary and benefit costs for reducing class sizes and/or staff to support interventions. Salary and benefit costs for COVID coordinators and grant facilitator. Tuition and mentor expenses for Lakeview Virtual School. Costs associated with teachers attending professional development above and beyond what the Title II Professional Development Grant can cover. Miscellaneous supplies and materials needed for improvement of instruction, such as student Chromebooks, organizational aids, TI-84 graphing calculators, updated curriculum materials, etc. Additional EnviroClean services for the 2021 and 21-22 school years, and over 350 HEPA filters for classrooms and offices across the district. The plan of use is posted on our website for our community to see and is updated when necessary. Section 23, Michigan Kids Back on Track Grant Funds. The Michigan Department of Education 23G Michigan Kids Back on Track grant funds are designed to address unfinished learning, get students to grade level academic standards, provide additional academic assistance to students at risk of falling behind their peers, or help high school students prepare for post-secondary education. Funds are meant to address unfinished learning among students in our district, including but not limited to low-income students, children with disabilities, English learners, racial and ethnic minorities, students experiencing homelessness, and children and youth in foster care. Our district allocation is $583,957. It was generated by multiplying the number of district students not proficient in ELA or mathematics on the state assessments by a per-pupil allocation determined by MDE. As stated in our MyKIP plan, we plan to use the 23G funds to cover salary and benefits of the 8 elementary interventionists during the 24-25 school year. We began hiring interventionists during the 22-23 school year using ESSER 3 and 11T funds, which must be used up by September 30th of this year. Once approved by MDE, the plan of use will be posted on our website for community to see. The plan will be updated in the future if necessary. At this time, administration seeks any additional suggestions or guidance from board members based on the work previously done and ideas summarized above, looking forward through 2024 and 2025.
Comments from the board, if any?
Just to clarify, the same process, and more detail, because people that are more directly connected, such as teachers, principals, the interventionists themselves are specialists, like the math specialists, the reading specialists. Those folks have been engaged in this all the way along for 3 years, an ongoing discussion about what's working, what doesn't work, whether or not we need to look for a new app or something of that sort. So there's a routine that's already involved, and that's, the larger stakeholder input, if you will, and that's part of the activity of having this in front of the board. I think the legislature, MDE officials wanted that to be clear when they passed that legislation and that budget, so that it wasn't, something behind the scenes 100%. It's something that would be out there in the public's eye a little bit too. So,
Okay.
just add that.
Good stuff. Any other comments?
This has all been allocated already then?
Those positions would be what that additional new funding would be targeted for. Extending what was initially going to end in '24, basically,
So basically the interventionists and then the technology.
because that's a new pot. And that you've heard us talk about school safety funds and other at-risk
Yes,
funds
right.
too. Those things are, we're very, I guess, good at trying to utilize as much as possible every dime of these one-time funds, or it might be two-time funds, or 1 or 2 times, and, where we know we can, for positions that would be maybe temporary, or some may still, still carry on afterwards. I mean, we had other interventionists involved before we had any grant funds. They just expanded what those roles were when we had more funds to utilize, and we had a bigger deficit to fix from COVID. So as this unfolds in the next, 18 months, we'll probably come back through to the, one of the subcommittees and talk a little more in detail about what may be the future, depending on what happens with the funding going down the road.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Any other comments?
How many interventionists do we have working in the school system right now?
So at the elementary level, we have 8 this year. We're up to 2 per building. And then in addition to that, we have 2 math specialists. They're each shared among 2 buildings each. And then we have 3 literacy coaches. We've hired the 2 behavior mental health specialists who we have an elementary and a secondary. So we have a lot of people in support roles really trying to target what kids need and fill some gaps. And what have you heard from either parents or teachers with respect to having these people within our community? You know, obviously, I want to hear what they had to say. So, from our teachers' perspective, it has been wonderful, they've said, to have people to support the work they're doing in the classroom by providing extra targeted support to students. We have been very fortunate to find 8 at the elementary level, very, very talented, very collaborative interventionists who are doing really great work both with kids and teaming with our teachers, because that's a really important connection. We're really excited from the feedback we have received from parents, because in the past, if you didn't have a disability, if you weren't a student with a disability who had an IEP, we didn't have formalized interventions, and now we do. And with COVID especially, we're seeing a lot more kids who just need additional instruction. They don't have a disability, they have gaps. So now we have staff who are in place, and we've created systems to target what are the needs and how do we address them for the kids. So it's been very positive.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else? Great. Thank you. Moving on to item M, student recognitions, Martin Luther King Jr. District Contest winners.
Lakeview Public Schools students participated in the 2024 Martin Luther King Jr. Acts of Kindness Holiday Celebration of Macomb County Student Art Contest, sponsored by the Interfaith Center for Racial Justice. The elementary contest required students to create a classroom mural, while middle school students were challenged to create a video, both with the theme of kindness. The following elementary classrooms created kindness murals with their art teachers for this contest. All students in the classroom participated. Students were presented with a classroom certificate of recognition for their submissions. Join me in congratulating the following: Katie Flaherty's first grade class at Greenwood, Mira DeBuch's third grade class at Princeton, Jennifer Cannith's third grade class at Princeton, Virginia Greenberg's fourth grade class at Princeton, Matthew Wagner's 5th grade class at Princeton, Emily Jackson's 5th grade class at Princeton, and Corey Sheridan's 5th grade class at Princeton. At Jefferson Middle School, video production students participated in the contest. Students submitted their individual videos to JMS administration for review and consideration. A total of 5 student videos were chosen to be entered into the official contest. The video created by 7th grader Ahmed Elgbury was chosen as the most creative and unique submission and was named the JMS MLK Video Contest Building winner. Please join me in congratulating Ahmed on this exciting achievement.
Good job, young man.
Oh, God, there's a certificate for you. Congratulations. Well done.
At this time, the Lakeview Board of Education would also like to recognize and thank elementary art teachers Andrew Hahn, Nancy Laporte, and Maria Sheehan, along with the JMS video production teacher Kathy Fury. Please join us in congratulating these staff members and all of these student artists on a job well done.
Maria's first, Nancy's second.
Good order. Congratulations. Well done. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you. Awesome stuff. Congratulations to all of our award recipients this evening. Job well done for quite a great task here in honoring Mr. King, Martin Luther King Jr. this time of the year. So thank you very much and congratulations. Moving on with the agenda to general, item A, first reading board policy administrative regulations revisions 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, and 8,000.
Tonight's first reading of these policy updates and changes are provided by Miller Johnson, our consulting law firm. And we have a first reading for board's consideration. There's no action required tonight, but it is a chance for any question and answer that might be of interest from board members. The ad hoc subcommittee reviewed this before the break and provided the small edits that were included in handwritten notes on those documents.
Any comments from the board?
I had a question with respect to page 3, and this is under directory information. I know that on the third bullet point, it says the student's birth date and the place of birth. I'm wondering if that should just be the state of birth, because sometimes in credit things, they ask you where you were born. I don't know if we should be putting that information out there. It's just a personal thought from the lawyer side. Obviously, I just looked at it and I was like, I don't know, maybe state of birth would maybe be a better option, just to keep it a little more general. Just personally speaking. Obviously, anyone can take it as they want, and
I would concur.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
okay.
The only thing I think we have to check on is that the directory information is consistently identified across the board. It's not district-to-district decision, so I think we do have to check with our legal piece, because that is defined, I believe, in the state language.
And I'm not sure why they would do that. I mean, personally, I could even reach out to whomever, why they would consider that's a good idea to put in a directory, but that was the only thing I thought when I looked through this, that maybe it should be addressed.
We'll check it out.
Fair enough. Any other comments? Okay, move on. At our place this evening was a revised personnel agenda item. Item A, changes in personnel.
Tonight, administration is bringing forward the following changes in personnel since the last presentation to the Board of Education on December 5th. New hires, Tabitha Taylor, Jefferson Middle School Secondary Interventionist; Marissa Scott, Lakeview Public Schools Multi-Site Latchkey Coordinator; Yatlong Lee, Technology Co-op; Madeline Yonkers, Technology Co-op; Allison Moore, District Special Education Social Worker; Elementary Learning Loss Tutors as listed; Resignation, Catherine Ellerbrock, Jefferson Middle School Social Studies Teacher; Laura Azzaparty, Lakeview Public Schools Accountant; Schedule B returning and coach sponsors for the 23-24 year as listed.
Mr. President, I move that the Board of Education approve the changes in personnel as presented.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Bear, support by Ms. Martin. Discussion on the motion.
I do have one question. The latchkey coordinator, is that going to kind of drive up the cost of just the latchkey now?
That is not the plan, no, that it would not change cost.
The new amount,
Yeah.
divvied up between the parents.
Yeah, no, we're not intending to raise prices at this time. We would always evaluate that and bring that to the board. These positions are new because of licensing requirements, and for us to be in compliance, to be able to meet the requirements to continue to run the program. Yeah.
Okay, any other comments?
I have a question with respect to the strength and conditioning coach. Is that a teaching position, or how does that work, and who does that accommodate to?
With Mr. Threet, is that what
Yes.
you're referring to? Yeah, so there was a Schedule B position that was approved a year and a half, 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
For basically after-school lifting, which is kind of separate from Coach DeVito for the powerlifting. And it's just kind of the open weight room where kids can go in after school. Coach Threet's got them. A lot of times it's football players, but he'll have some of the basketball players, some of the baseball players, he'll be in there, and they're kind of doing a structured workout. So it's almost like a weight room supervisor type position. So, but he's in there actually doing some structure with the lifting program and things like that.
Okay, and that's accommodated to all the sports?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure it was all of them.
How long does a session last?
There's 3 sessions. They do one fall, they do one winter, and they do one spring.
Is it a week thing, 2 weeks?
It's a couple of days a week
Okay.
that they'll be in the weight room, and he's got times, probably 3 to 4:30 is typically when they'll do it.
Okay, cool. Any other comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries.
No, we do not have anybody here. Thank you, though, I appreciate that.
Thank you. All right, moving down to other, we have item A, request for closed session, student expulsion, long-term suspension recommendation 2023-24AJ.
Mr. President, I recommend that the Board of Education approves a request for closed session to discuss a Step 9 long-term suspension, expulsion, discipline recommendation for student 2023-24 AJ.
Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Mr. Bear. Roll call vote, please.
Mr. Miners.
Yes. Aye.
Oh, I'm getting the wrong order again.
It's okay.
Okay. Mr. And Mr. Asia?
Yes.
Ms. Taylor? Yes. Mr. Miskelly?
Yes.
Ms. Martin? Yes. Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Aye. Okay, for the purpose of time, we'll go ahead and take the votes on all 3 actions to go into closed session. Next, we have the request for closed session, student expulsion, long-term suspension recommendation 2023-24 TO.
Mr. President, I recommend that the Board of Education approves the request for closed session to discuss Step 9, long-term suspension, expulsion, discipline recommendations for student 2023-24 TO. Support.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Martin, support by Ms. Taylor. Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Ms. Martin, yes. Ms. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Miners?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Aye.
Mr. Asia?
Yes.
Mr. Miskelly? And Mr. Dombrowski?
Aye. And then next, we have request for closed session, student expulsion, long-term suspension recommendation 2023-24NG.
Mr. President, I recommend that the Board of Education approves the request for closed